So a brand new MCU property has just dropped, and I'm gonna be real with you guys, I have no idea what this is. I have never in my life heard of Wonder Man, but I was willing to check it out and see what this was all about. And honestly, there's something different about this series that kind of hits home for me, and it's something that I think it's kind of special, and at the same time, it's something that if you can grasp a hold of what's happening here, I think it might affect the way you see the people around you. And today on Geek Devotions, we're gonna talk about it. Hello, Devoted Geeks. Welcome to Geek Devotions, a show from Devoted Geeks who are devoted to letting you know you're loved. I'm Dallas. I'm so glad you've hit the play button today. If you are new to our show, we take geek, pop culture items like movies, video games, and comic books, and we use it to let people know that they're loved. So if you don't watch past this moment, know this: we love you, we care about you. There is a plan and a purpose for your life. Do not give up. Now, before we do start, I want to give a big shout out to our friends over at the Rushmore show. They're going to be guest hosting this show next week for us because Celeste and I are actually going to be on kind of a mini vacation. It's our 10-year wedding anniversary, and we're going to be relaxing and didn't want to have to necessarily worry about creating more videos. We just want to spend time together. So Andy and Kirk over at the Rushmore show, they have created a whole new episode for you guys for this next Friday. And you guys, I want to encourage you guys to check it out. And if you haven't heard of the Rushmore show, they rate like the top 4 of anything in the world, literally anything. And it's just a great and fun show. I want to encourage you guys to go check it out. I'll have links in the description down below for you to go see their stuff. Now back to the conversation about Wonder Man. I literally have never heard of this character in my life. And so I came in kind of like raw, not really know what's going on. And it's got this offbeat feel to it. This is so different to the other MCU superhero stuff that's out there. Typically, you jump into the story of the superhero and it's go. You're rock and roll. And you dive quickly into their origin story of how they become a hero and all the stuff they're doing. And it's kind of fast paced, but this takes its time. There's something special about this series, and that specialness is that it kind of focuses on everyday life for the guy. Instead of having a character who, is suddenly thrust into herohood, we're following him for several episodes as he's just trying to survive life. He's a normal human being. Well, normal as you can for having superpowers, but it's a character named Simon, and he's trying to be an actor. He's dealing with the failure after failure. He gets fired from one job. His girlfriend leaves him. He can't seem to get ahead of things. And when you find out that there's some animosity with his family, he doesn't seem to be able to live up to the expectations of his big brother. His father's gone. There's a lot taking place. He's a young man who felt isolated growing up. It's very real, very raw. And I think that's what makes it special. Because instead of looking at the highlights of a man's life, or even just the low points of it, looking at the Monday, everyday aspect of it. Now, is it a little bit exaggerated in some points? Yes, absolutely. But it still takes a look at the everyday life of a person. And this is fascinating to me because it makes me care about this character just a little bit more than I think I would have on the front end. It is genuinely amazing what happens when we see the everyday life of people. Take into account not just the highlights and the lowlights, but whole chapters, the full context of their lives, what they've grown up in and what they've seen. So often we see these people that we look up to as heroes, as people who are just amazing. And that's all we see. Or maybe we have these peers that we know, and all we see are the great things that they're doing. But we don't see the everyday life where they struggle or how they got there. At the same time, we hear about people, and all we hear about are their lowest points, the lowest points of depression, or the lowest points where they've really messed things up. But all we see is that, and we just demonize them rather than going, well, how did that happen? How did they get there? Not in a way to excuse what took place. We shouldn't do that. There are consequences to actions. I'm not going to negate that. But A, so we can have compassion to help restore people appropriately. But B, so we can avoid the same things that they went through. This aspect of looking at a person's life in its full context is fascinating. And as a Christian, it's something that really I need to be better at doing. And I feel like Christians are probably the worst at it in a lot of times. But as society as a whole, we struggle to see a person's full life, the context of the moments that they're going through. I look at the scriptures, I look at Acts chapter 13, and Paul's giving this great speech and he's preaching the gospel. And he says this in Acts chapter 13, verse 22. And when he had removed him, he raised up David to be their king, of whom he testified and said, I have found in David, the son of Jesse, a man after my heart, who will do all my will. Now this is interesting to read because David, when you look at him, Yes, we have those stories of him, conquering armies and slaying Goliath and all the great stuff. But then at the same time, if you read the scriptures, you see a lot of failure. You see where he failed God time after time, where he failed his people. And yet scriptures call him a man after God's own heart. Yet he's celebrated. In fact, not just that, they make a big deal about the fact that he is kind of like the primary individual whom the strength that leads to Jesus. The bloodline to Jesus comes through David. And they're very intentional going, David's the guy. He comes, Jesus, son of David. They make it a big deal. And if we were to look at David's whole life, there was some stuff he did that wasn't great. But if we were to treat David the way that we treat people today, we might throw everything out because of those lowlights that take place. That, or we will just flat out ignore those bad things and maybe miss some valuable lessons. Because you see, the thing that made David a man after God's own heart wasn't his successes. And the Bible isn't saying that what he did that was wrong was good, but it's what he did in response to those low points in his life. He repented. He got back up. He began to strive forward to do what God called him to do, which is fascinating because you would think that if you're trying to bump up the legacy of Jesus, you'd erase all the bad things. But instead they go, no, look at this. This is a flawed individual. David was not perfect. He was a flawed man who failed time after time. For us, we're flawed individuals. The people around you, they're flawed. They're not perfect. But all you see oftentimes are the perfect moments, or sometimes you see the bad things. But when we look at the context of their lives, like we look at the context of David, we see what led to the greatness. And we can celebrate those moments, and we can go, man, I can genuinely celebrate this because I know the struggle they went to get to there. At the same time, when we see their low lives, we can grieve, but we can also go, I'm going to learn, so I don't have to do that also. And at the same time, I want to encourage you with this whole thing, because it's something I was thinking about earlier, dealing with context. So often we examine ourselves, our own lives, with only the context of either the highlights or the lowlights. You have done some amazing things, I'm sure. But those things that happened 10, 20 years ago, they were highlights. Yes, celebrate those things, make memorial stones to celebrate those things, but don't live off those. Continue to strive, continue to grow to be better. At the same time, don't dwell and live on those terrible things that took place. Are there consequences of those things that took place? Sure. Are those low points, those depressions, are those hard and it's sad? Yes. But don't live in it. If you've been abused, don't live in that victimhood. Move forward, move beyond the point, grow, be healed, made whole, become who you were meant to be. Let the context of your life be a bigger story than the highs and the lows. Question of the week for you guys. What are your thoughts on Wonder Man? Like I said, Celeste and I are kind of interested in this. We're invested. It's been a while since there's been an MCU show that we've really kind of just enjoyed, and this is hitting for us. What are your thoughts on it? Leave a comment and let us know. I do want to give a special thank you to everyone who's been supporting us over the last several years. Again, I just mentioned that Celeste and I are about to celebrate 10 years of being married. And 6 months after we got married, we started this, Geek Devotions. And we are so thankful to everyone who has supported us since then. Thanks to you guys, we've been able to just love people, to care for people. You encourage us through kind messages, being part of our community, taking part in the chat on the videos and sharing things out, taking part in our weekly play and praise. At the same time, some of you have supported us financially through things like Patreon or one-time gifts through PayPal or Amazon. And we are so incredibly thankful for you and for your part in our lives. Every one of you, whether it's been financially or it's just being a good friend who hears us, who hears our struggles, who hear our low points in our lives and lift us up, or you celebrate our high points and you followed us in our day-to-day life as we hit those high points. Thank you guys so much for being part of all this. I do want to say that if you want to become a devoted Patreon geek, be like these individuals on the screen here who have supported us on a weekly basis, or a monthly basis rather, for as little as $1 a month. Go to our website, geekdevotions.com, click on the support page. You can see our Patreon and also our PayPal if you just want to do a one-time gift. That being said, I do want to invite you guys, be part of our community. Take part in our Facebook group, Devoted Geek Life. Take part in our Discord channel. take part in our live streams that take place every single week where Celeste and I play video games and hang out and pray for folks and just do life. That's the point of Geek Devotions. We're devoted to let people know they're loved, and we can't let people know they're loved. We're not there to be loved. So come be part of what's taking place. All that being said, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay devoted, peace and love.